sacrifice, which is about to last for 1,000 years. But they are not getting any results. So they request Sut Goswami to help them out. So Sut Goswami has the seat, he presides over the assembly, and Shaunak Rishi, who is presiding, who is the speaker from the all the sages who are assembled there, he is inquiring from Suta Goswami. So there is a conversation between Suta, who is the speaker, and Shaunak Rishi, who is inquiring on behalf of all the sages. So he asked 6 questions from Suta Goswami. First question was, what is the ultimate good for all people? The second question was the essence of all scriptures, because there are so many hundreds and thousands of scriptures and they prescribe so many different duties in different varnas and ashramas. But people in Kali Yuga, they are less intelligent, they have short memories, short lives, they are misguided, and they are unfortunate and always disturbed. So, how can they get the essence of all these scriptures? So, please let us know the essence of all scriptures. So, both of these questions were answered by Suta Goswami, saying that devotional service is the ultimate good for people in all situations of life, in all circumstances. And devotional service is the essence of all the scriptures. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasidhati. So the paro dharma, the ultimate occupation for all living entity, is that by which one awakens uninterrupted and unmotivated service towards the Supreme. And by that service, one can feel completely satisfied. Next 2 questions were about the Purusha avatars and Leela avatars of the Lord. So Suta Goswami explains how Lord Vishnu is an expansion of Lord Krishna, and he breathes in and breathes out many universes, and then he enters into every universe as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and then from his navel Lord Brahma comes and he creates the entire material universe. So these are the Purusha avatars of the Lord. And then he goes on explaining the Leela avatars. There are 22 in number, but they are unlimited. He explained 22 of them, including many of the celebrated incarnations about Lord Ram, about Buddha, Lord Buddha, about Kalki, who is still to come at the end of Kali Yuga. And then at the end he says, Ete chamsha kala pumsha krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mridyanti yuge yuge. That all these avatars, incarnations are expansions and sub-expansions of expansions of Krishna. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then 2 more questions that were asked were about why did Lord Krishna appear? Why does he do these activities? Why does he take birth? Why does he do different activities in the material world? So Suta Goswami answered by saying that he comes to reclaim the conditioned souls. Conditioned souls have been awarded with birth, death, old age, and disease. That's their material award. So Lord Krishna comes to give them spiritual awards, to give them eternal life, as is explained in the purport that we read today. So that's why he comes to reclaim all the conditioned souls from all the species of life, 8,400,000 species. Bhavayati esha sattvena lokan vai loka bhavana. He comes and appears in all the species of life. This is Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 34. And he reclaims the conditioned souls. So last question was by the sages, 6 out of the 6 questions. Now that dharma is not there, so Lord Krishna has disappeared. He has gone back to his own planet. Where has dharma or the religious principles gone for shelter? So Suta Goswami answers by saying, Krishne swadhamo pagate dharma jnana divisaha kalo nashta drishamesha purana dhunodita. Now when Lord Krishna has gone back to his own planet, and along with him, Dharma and Jnana, they have also gone, because wherever Lord Krishna is there, there are religious principles, there is transcendental knowledge. But in this Kali Yuga, Srimad Bhagavatam has arisen like a sun. And this Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. All those people whose eyes are blinded by the dark ignorance of Kali Yuga, they will receive light from this Purana. So that is a segue to him starting narration of Srimad Bhagavatam. So at that time, the sages asked these questions: why this Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled by Vyasadeva after writing all the Vedic literatures? Why did he take the trouble to write another literature? Where did he write it? How did he get the inspiration? And then they also asked why Parikshit was sitting until death. Why was he sitting without eating and drinking? Please tell us about his birth, about his activities, about his renunciation, because he was a great devotee of the Lord. And knowing about the great devotee is non different from knowing about Lord Krishna. So please tell us about Parikshit Maharaj. And then they also inquired about Shukdev Goswami. Shukdev Goswami won't stop at a place for more than 20 minutes. That is the time you need to milk a cow. So he would just take 1 cup of milk and he would move on. But how did Shukdev Goswami stop and talk to Parikshit Maharaj, who is the emperor of the planet? How was he received in the city of Hastinapur? And how did this meeting take place? So they are asking these questions. These questions make the conversation interesting. So in any spiritual conversation, the inquirer has to be very enthusiastic, then the speaker becomes very enthusiastic, and it's back and forth. When the speaker presents very nicely, then the inquirer becomes more enthusiastic. Vasudeva Katha Prashna Purusham Tin Punatihi Prichakam Shrotrim Tatpada Salilam Yatha. That the pastimes of Lord Krishna, they are like the water of the Ganges. So when the Ganges comes from the higher planets, there are 3 planetary systems: the Swargalok, the celestial planets, the middle planetary system where the humans live, and then the hellish planets. So when Mother Ganga descends, she purifies the 3 planetary systems. Similarly, when the pastimes of Lord Krishna are spoken, they purify the speaker who is speaking, and then they purify the inquirer who is inquiring, and anybody in between, anybody else who is listening. So this is beauty of this conversation between Sukta Goswami and Shukdev, Sukta Goswami and Shaunak Rishi, who is presiding over the assembly in the Naimisharanya. So we see in this canto, we are at the second but last chapter, and all the Sri Canto 1 is about how Vyasadeva got the inspiration to write this great literature. Then he went about explaining about the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, how Pandavas retired timely and they gave the throne to Parikshit Maharaj, how Parikshit Maharaj ruled the whole world as a righteous emperor, and he maintained dharma in his kingdom. And then how he punished Kali. So even though Kali Yuga was there in his kingdom, but the Kali Yuga could not infiltrate. Even though he was present there because of the presence of Parikshit Maharaj, he just could not exert its influence. At that time, now he's saying, Sut Goswami in today's verse is saying, now I have explained almost everything that you have asked me. So this is the test that a speaker gives. He wants to see whether the inquirer is ready to listen more or not. He is saying, Upavarnitam, I have explained everything that you have, almost everything that you have asked me about Lord Krishna and about Parikshit Maharaj. Now he wants to see whether they want to listen more or not. And then he has not explained about the renunciation of Parikshit Maharaj. He has explained the birth and activities, but they also asked about Parikshit Maharaj's renunciation. So we'll see in the future that Shaunak Rishi is again asking, please tell us more. Please tell us what happened. What's the conversation that happened between Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj? So then he will continue explaining the renunciation of Parikshit Maharaj in this chapter. So there is a very beautiful verse in first chapter of this canto, that those people who have developed taste of the transcendental relationship with Krishna, they relish it at every step and they are always hankering for more and more. So these sages are never satisfied hearing about the pastimes of Krishna and his devotees. And in the text 10, Suta Goswami explains what is the benefit of hearing the pastimes of Krishna. Those who are desirous of achieving complete perfection in life must submissively hear all topics that are connected with the transcendental activities and qualities of the personality of Godhead, who acts wonderfully. And Prabhupada gives beautiful purport. Every line is so special. The systematic hearing of the transcendental activities, qualities, and names of Lord Shri Krishna pushes one towards eternal life. So there's a verse which says, Ayur harti vahi pumsam udyan astam chayanaso tasyarte yakshanonita uttam shlok vartya. That every sunrise and sunset is taking away the life, special, the duration of life of every human being, except those who are engaged in hearing the glories of Uttam Shlok, one who is glorified by selected prayers. So what does that mean? Does a devotee not lose? Does a devotee not go towards death every day? Is he not? Is he his duration not going away? Yes, his duration of material life is going away, but at the same time he's reviving his spiritual body because he's listening about Krishna. He's developing his eligibility to enter the spiritual world. So with every day, when he is systematically hearing about Krishna, he's nourishing his spiritual body. He's getting more and more qualified to enter the spiritual world, which means eternal life. And Prabhupada here he gives his reference to Bhagavad Gita. Systematic hearing means knowing him gradually. So we can't know Krishna immediately. We know Krishna gradually in truth and fact. What does that mean? In truth means to hear from authorized sources. We can hear about Krishna from many people, but we have to hear from authorized sources, from authorized texts which have not been changed over the years. So we know that many texts have been changed. We have so many translations of Ramayana, Mahabharata, because they have been changed over the years, over the decades or centuries. But Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, they are intact. Why they are intact? Although they were written 5,000 years ago, because so many acharyas have given their commentaries on these literatures. That's what has preserved this Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And if we follow these acharyas' commentary, then we will get the same understanding that Arjuna received from Lord Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. There is no difference between hearing from Krishna directly or hearing from Krishna through the disciplic succession, a bona fide disciplic succession. So we have the benefit of hearing about Krishna in truth. What does fact mean? After hearing in truth, we have to also apply this in knowledge. There is jnana and there is vijnana. So, yeah, I might know many truths. I know man is mortal, but I might not act upon it. I might act like I will live for millions of years. But when I know factually, yes, I'm going to die. I have an expiry date. I have a shelf life for this body. So that person actually acts on this. So he tries to revive his spiritual nature by trying to inquire about who we are, what is the process of self-realization, trying different things. So that means he knows this in fact. So there's truth and there's in fact. So we should know about Krishna, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But do we know that's in fact? Do we realize that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? The other day I was listening to His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj lecture with Anand Swarup Prabhu. We say about Krishna that Krishna is an ocean of mercy. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo. And Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinubandho Jagatpate. So Krishna is known as Karuna Sindhu. He is known as an ocean of mercy. And an ocean, Maharaj was saying he's an ocean of mercy. Every drop of that ocean can inundate the entire world. That's the extent of mercy of every drop. And this ocean is unlimited. It has no boundaries. And if you go into the depth of this ocean, you can go trillions of miles. There is no end to there is no base for this ocean. That is Krishna's mercy. But do we really, we many times we say theoretically, oh, this is Krishna's mercy in my life, Prabhu, this is Krishna's mercy. But do we really understand what does Krishna's mercy mean? We might say theoretically, this is Krishna's mercy, but do we really understand what Krishna's mercy means? Am I able to see the difficulties in my life as Krishna's mercy? So there's knowing in truth and there's knowing in fact. That is the life of a devotee, to convert jnana into vijnana, to accept the knowledge from a right source and then to work on it. That's our devotional service, to make this jnana into vijnana. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvata tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti surjuna. So one who knows my birth and activities are transcendental, and they know this in truth and in fact, tattvata, tyaktva deham punarjanma, after giving up their present material body, they do not take birth again because they come back to me. Such transcendental glorified activities of Lord Shri Krishna are the prescribed remedy for counteracting the process of birth, death, old age, and disease, which are considered to be material awards for the conditioned living being. Everybody likes awards, When I was growing up, I used to love those trophies that we'll win at the end of the year. Yeah. So I would grow very envious when somebody else will get the first rank in my class. So I would work extra hard to get that trophy, and I was so proud of so many trophies, so many awards, and that's why I didn't have any friends, because I was envious of everybody. Anybody who was good in school, I would become envious of him. So I won't be able to make friends. But it was a miserable life. So similarly, there are material awards. What are these material awards? Birth, death, old age, and disease. And we are so proud of it. Many times people try to see old age. Yes, old age means actually you are wise. You are actually more wise than most of the people. So they actually are proud of being old. And there's one of the tapes where one of the spiritual leaders says that's where the youth begins, when you are getting old. Actually, he also glorifies Srila Prabhupada in that tape. He says that Srila Prabhupada was at the age of 70. At that time, he crossed the ocean and he made this movement of Hare Krishna all over the world. So we should not be concerned even if we are old. We should be enthusiastic. That's very nice. At the same time, we should understand the miseries of old age and we should try to make a solution out of these. So we should understand these birth, death, old age, and disease. These are embarrassments of the spirit soul. This is not something to be proud of. When there is a birth, there are celebrations. We celebrate birthdays every year. Actually, with every birthday, we are getting close to our death. It's 1 year short. Your every birthday is actually 1 year closer to death. So there is nothing to celebrate about, except we celebrate devotees' appearance and disappearance because it's for the benefit of the entire world. When a devotee appears, his life is an example for everybody else. And he is utilizing his human life. He has utilized his past year for serving Krishna, and he is reviving his eternal life. So that birth is worth celebrating. With every year that he's spending in the material world, he's actually reviving his spiritual identity. That is worth celebration. But otherwise, there is no cause of celebration. What is the use of wasting time here? We are loitering in the material universe. There's nothing to see here. As Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur in his Samadhi, it's written, there's nothing to see here. In that, near that temple where there's an office, there's nothing to see here. So in this material world, there's nothing to see. People are loitering in 7-Eleven complex or Costco or some Macy's, going to different places to get happiness. But it's all the same things recycled in different packages. So you can't enjoy this material world. Earlier there was this Baskin Robbins. There used to be 3 flavors of ice cream: vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. But now we have hundreds and thousands of flavors of ice cream. But ultimately, it's the same thing, recycled in different ways. So, understanding this, one should make a solution of these problems of life: birth, death, old age, and disease. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukh, Dosha, Anudarshana. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that to see these 4 problems of life is an item of knowledge. There are 20 items of knowledge in chapter 13, text 8 through 12. So, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukh, Dosha, Anudarshanam. To see them following the footsteps of previous teachers as the real problems of life is knowledge. So such a person tries to make a solution for these problems. And what is the solution? Nivritta Tarshai Upagiyamana Bhavaushadash Shrotra Manobhiramat Kautam Shloka Gunanuvadat Puman Virajait Vinapashubnat. It's a beautiful verse at the outset or the onset of Canto 10, spoken by Shukdev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. So, this is the medicine here. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm open for any questions, corrections, reflections. Yes, please.
Talking about the celebration of birthdays and appearing days, and you were telling how you heard it from some. So that really struck home because we have materialists who don't generally don't engage in hearing about Krishna, and so every sunrise and sunset takes them closer to death. But devotees who continue hearing and absorbing themselves in it, the same sunrise and sunset takes them closer to Krishna. So that was the way you put it was very active.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I heard this in the classes. This is beautiful. There is another verse. Shwavid vara oshtra tharai samstuta purusha pashu. That there are people like dogs, camels, as is, who hear from those people who do not want to hear about Krishna. So, Shwavidvara Ushtatharai Samstuta Purusha Pashu. It's a beautiful verse. Nato Karna Patho Peto. Vidvara Ushtatharai 198. This is 2319. Shwavid vara oshtra kharai samstuta purusha pashu nayat karna patho peto jatu nam gadagraja. Men who are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna, the deliverer from evils. This is the other side, the two sides of the coin. There are people who are looking for hearing about Krishna and they are reviving their eternal life, but this is the other side. So in the text 9, it is said, Vasudeva Kathopetam, to know about narrations in connection with Lord Krishna. And these people, Nayat Karna Pathopeto, they don't like to hear about Krishna. Who are these men? They are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. So this is their next life. Because they are not utilizing their human life for hearing about Krishna, this is what they are going to get in the next life. So we should know both nations and transcendental knowledge side by side. As Ishopanishad says, one should know the process of transcendental knowledge and nations side by side, so one can taste the nectar of immortality. So we should know both sides. If we worship the Supreme, one result is attained. And if we worship something which is not Supreme, another result is obtained.
I was reflecting on the point about old age. Like some people, like you were saying, they say, "Oh, when you become old, you become wise," or something. They just try to make it sound like it's a nice thing. There's a devotee who's distributing Easy Journey to Other Planets. One older gentleman took the book and he went, and I'm very grateful that he actually took some time to read it. It was nice of him, but you could see his immediate reaction. He came back to the desk. He wanted to give the book back. And he said that, what do you mean this birth, old age, disease, and death? These are all, bad things. If you weren't born, you wouldn't have this life, like you wouldn't, your mother, it wouldn't be there, your father, all these things. So how can you say this is a bad thing? So, if you don't have that understanding that there's something beyond this life, then you won't be able to understand these concepts that birth, old age, and disease are actually calamities, not. Um, yeah, so it just kind of hammered the point of that previous interaction. So that's reflecting on.
A beautiful point. I heard His Grace Vaisheshika Maharaj gives this example of when his father passed away. They do this memorial, and they said that he had a good run. So they explain about the how he was successful materially, but actually it's an embarrassment for the living entity. If that life is not utilized for going to Krishna, then it's an embarrassment. Birth, death, first one is born and then one has to work hard, and then one has to go through the disease, disappointments, and then death, disease and then death, old age. So unless we utilize this human life for inquiring about the Supreme, that human life is not worth it. It's what is the use of a long duration of life, like a tree, oak tree, which can't do any good to others. It's better to have one moment of full consciousness when we inquire about the Supreme, like Khatwanga Maharaj. He he in one moment he gave himself completely to the Supreme, and he achieved a higher destination. So what is the use of a long duration of life?
Only one who's coming.
Non muhurtam, yeah. Anybody online has any reflection or questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. Um, um, I like the point about the different forms of knowledge. Um, uh, I am doing some things materially. There is need of so many things. I need to learn tools, and they get outdated, and there are newer and newer versions. And so, if I have to go for all the knowledge and learn all the skills, degrees, and there is no guarantee what it will be the output of all this learning, because so much things are being done by AI. So it's so nice to hear about the true knowledge, which is helpful and coming to come out of the cycle of birth and death. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Too. Yeah, material knowledge always gets updated because it's static, but spiritual knowledge is always alive. So it can give us more and more realization. Reading about the same text, we can get so much more realization. It's an ocean. Every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is as deep as an ocean. So the more we read, the more we get out of it. Like churning of sandalwood. The more we churn, the more fragrant it becomes. Okay, we'll stop here. Thank you so much. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.